Good morning and welcome to the KDPG Sunday edition. I'm Stacy Smith. Allegheny County Executive Rich Fitzgerald is one of the most powerful local government leaders in the country. In many ways, he has transformed county government. Fitzgerald launched a shovel-ready plan to clear vacant property and market it for economic development. He has hired strong executives, many of them women, to lead departments from the Airport Authority to the Port Authority to the Health Department. And Mr. Fitzgerald and other state and local leaders are in the hunt to try to attract a second Amazon headquarters and other companies to the region. But he also faces challenges from the opioid epidemic to problems at the Allegheny County Jail. Rich Fitzgerald is our guest this morning on the KDPG Sunday edition. David Trimman, the executive editor of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, is away this week, so John Allison, the editorial page editor, joins us for this morning's discussion. Mr. Fitzgerald, thanks so much for joining us this morning on the KDPG Sunday edition. It's been a while since you've been here. It's good to be with you, and it's good to be, as we kick off another year. I think there's a lot of optimism and excitement for the future of where Pittsburgh and the Pittsburgh region is going, and you touched on it with Amazon. I mean, I think it's really put Pittsburgh in the national spotlight on some of the things that we've done over the last few years, and I like where we're going. Well, it's interesting because 200 and some cities, I think 238, if I'm reading the exact amount, are in the bid or trying to be in the hunt for this new second headquarters for Amazon. Many of them are never mentioned, but Pittsburgh is constantly mentioned as perhaps being at least in the top 20, if not the top 5 at times. Where at this point do you liken our chances here? I like our chances a lot, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, the reason I think 238 cities have put in for this, 50,000 jobs and $5 billion worth of investment, and on about the economic impact that will have. Pittsburgh has really transformed itself. I don't know that 10 years ago we would have been in position that we are right now, but we're in a perfect place. We've got the technology with CMU and Pitt and some of the things that Amazon has already capitalized on. A lot of their key employees have come out of the CMU computer and software programs and the Tepper School of Business. The fact that we're very affordable. There are other cities that might have the technology that we do, like San Francisco and Boston and others, but the $800,000 house there only costs $200,000 in Pittsburgh. So to attract those 50,000 employees, you need to be affordable. And you're not moving to a city that's affordable but doesn't have other amenities. We have the cultural and quality of life amenities that any other city could have. So it puts us in a very competitive situation. And you mentioned about the sites. We still have some of the sites that haven't been developed yet, like Hazelwood Green, the Old Elmano site in Hazelwood, the Cary Furnace site in Swissville and Rankin, that have large parcels of land on a riverfront, on trails, that would be desirable for a company like Amazon. Let's break this down. I know you will not give specifics as to what the plan was that you submitted to Amazon as far as tax incentives or anything like that, but everybody had to do that, I am sure. And, sure. And that's Amazon part of the deal. Wanted that. Yes. As part of the deal. But if you can, tell us when you took a look at their list of what they wanted from an area, how did you decide what the most important thing was you were going to pitch, and what was that? Well, number one, they want to be successful. They want to have the technology and the talent. It's about them attracting the amount of talent that they need to grow as a company. And when we're talking about 50,000 employees, that's a huge number. So we put our assets together. I mentioned some of the cultural amenities, sports and museums and opera, symphony parks, wonderful green spaces and trails that would attract young millennials, talented young individuals who are working at Amazon. And then is it affordable? Seattle's a great city, but Seattle has kind of exploded in the way that their affordability aspect has gone away. I mentioned the $200,000 house you could buy here that costs $800,000 in a place like Seattle or San Francisco. So they've got to go to a place where they can fit in, where they can partner. One of the things we do extremely well here in Western Pennsylvania is partner. The private sector and the public sector, our universities, our foundations, our labor climate, our educational institutions. So there's a lot of things that Amazon likes to see. Amazon also has a culture where they're very inviting. They want to have a diverse workforce. We're seeing that in Pittsburgh right now with some of the initiatives that Mayor Peduto and our other corporations and the Allegheny Conference is promoting. So I think we're a perfect fit for what Amazon wants to do. Only because I'm a journalist and we always take the other side sometimes. If you had to say what were the negatives that you knew going in that might hurt Pittsburgh, what would they be? I really can't see any. I really don't, because I think it all lines up perfectly for us. I think they want to be with HQ2
on the eastern part of the United States, which we are. I think you want to have a place that is not severe in its climate, meaning a lot of flooding, a lot of bitter cold. You know, we have the seasons, but we don't have the extreme weather that other places have. I think for a while maybe people could look to the airport, that we didn't have a direct flight to Seattle, which we now do. That has been taken care of. So I think we fit in a perfect way. I think the other thing is Seattle got overwhelmed by when Amazon grew so fast. Pittsburgh has the capacity to grow. You got to remember, this was a city of 600,000 people years ago. It's now 300,000 people. The county used to be 1.6 million. It's now close to 1.25. If we add 100,000 people, we're not going to be overwhelmed. Our infrastructure will be able to handle it.
Well, speaking of the infrastructure, one of the things that people say that maybe could hurt Pittsburgh in getting Amazon is transportation. You mentioned the Almano site. How do you get there? I mean, there's not a direct, you're winding around to get there.
We're working on that, and that's one of the things that the mayor and us and the Almano folks working on a road through Panther Hollow to connect to CMU and to connect to Pitt. Transportation is one of our challenges, but it's a challenge that every city and every major metropolitan area faces. But I think what somebody like Amazon can see, that Pittsburgh is a place that solves problems. We work on problems and we do it. The airport is the perfect example. It wasn't more than just a couple of years ago that you could only go to 37 cities directly from Pittsburgh International Airport. We're now up to 73 in just a few years because we put a strategy together with people like Christina Casotis, the director, but she's working with the Tech Council, the universities, the Allegheny Conference, Visit Pittsburgh, the governmental folks on both sides of the aisle, Harrisburg, Washington. We all work together to solve problems. I think that's one of the secret sauces of Amazon. They're a problem solving, they've solved, issues around retail and around the things that are happening. That's what Pittsburgh is. We've always been an innovative, problem solving, solution based community.
It's interesting, this past week, Philadelphia released some of what it said of its pitch to Amazon, even though a lot of it, 38 pages or so, were heavily redacted from that. But one of the things that did come out is that they put themselves here and then criticized other cities such as Pittsburgh. Did you do that in your proposals?
No, the only thing I could say that we probably would list in a proposal is to say the average cost of housing in Pittsburgh versus the average cost of housing in maybe 10 other cities. Those type of things. So I think, I don't know that it was necessarily they were criticizing Pittsburgh or criticizing another city. I think they were trying to compare themselves. So, and everybody will do that. Everyone will do the cost of doing business, the cost of transportation, the cost of housing, amenities that you have. Did we put the fact that we have 6 Super Bowls and no other city has that? I mean, I don't know that that's a big, but you know what I mean. Every city's going to put forth their best. I think
I'm honor bound to note that in our first editorial in praise of getting Amazon, we did, in a joking way, say some nasty things about other cities with their bad weather and other trouble. So just a disclosure statement. That's our job, to put trash on other cities.
Is this an all or nothing? Local business leaders mentioned this to me the other day. Perhaps it's not. Perhaps Amazon could break this up. Have you ever thought about that? And is there that possibility? I.e., some place like, let's say, Austin, Texas, handle the distribution, but some of the other aspects, meaning more software engineering sort of people, maybe here.
I think that's going to be the case, to be honest with you. I think Amazon already is growing here, and they have their cloud-based operations here over on the south side, and they've got, I don't know, 100 employees, and they're probably going to add maybe another 100 or a couple hundred more. But I think that'll happen in places like Boston and Austin and Portland and all over the country, and quite frankly, all over the world. So I think you will see, as they grow, like any major corporation, they're going to have multiple operations. Some of it will be back office, accounting and legal work. Some of it will be the distribution center, as you said. So I think you're going to see it isn't an all or nothing. And I also want to say Pittsburgh is not an all or nothing, meaning if we don't get Amazon, woe is us. Pittsburgh's moving forward in a big way. This would certainly be a great addition, but we're moving forward with companies that are coming here, growth that's happening out of our universities, new technology, robotics, artificial intelligence, medical technology, et cetera. So this isn't like, oh my goodness, if we don't get this, Pittsburgh isn't moving forward. We're very optimistic about where we're going.
Right. One of your reporters did an article on this with you back in December, and you basically said that that this movement to try to get Amazon is going to entice other people, and perhaps early next year, meaning 2018, you might have an announcement. Do you have any announcements yet?
We have no announcement yet, but there are, which you've talked about at places like the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Forbes, these kind of parlor game, who's going to be Amazon? As you mentioned, we're always in the top few cities that are mentioned. It has put Pittsburgh on the map. It has given us an image, a change in the image that Pittsburgh has had for many years about an older Rust Belt industrial based city that was the future. And now people realize Pittsburgh is the future and moving forward.
And also rallying for this big presentation. It's like cleaning up your house for a party. It's nice. People come and then your house is clean.
That's right. It's been a great exercise regardless of where this goes, because in putting this bid together, as we brought all the stakeholders together from various aspects of the community, we're ready for the next one. You're right. We've cleaned up and tried to improve some of the things that weren't happening. Getting another San Francisco flight, getting the flight to Seattle, bringing in a new Port Authority director and moving forward on things like the BRT and using technology. We're not sitting idle. We're not sitting on resting on our laurels. We're moving forward, again, regardless of what happens during this whole Amazon sweepstakes.
I want to get into some of those other issues that you just brought up with the Port Authority and the Airport Authority. Can you state right now that you are in talks with other companies to bring them here?
Yes.
Other technology companies?
And companies that are already here and looking to expand. Because companies that are here are dynamic. They can go to all those other cities that we've talked about. So it's important that we retain our talent that is here and entice the companies that are, the individuals that are commercializing research that's coming out of Carnegie Mellon, that's coming out of Pitt, that's coming out of our universities and UPMC. The things that they're doing, we want those operations to stay here. We want those jobs to stay here. We want any manufacturing that occurs out of that to stay here. So it's an ongoing challenge for us to improve quality of life, to improve the business climate, and to make sure we continue to grow on a sustainable path.
We will continue our discussion with Allegheny County Executive Rich Fitzgerald when we come back.